Here are 8 head coaching candidates the Bears could hire to replace Matt Nagy in the next couple weeks. What's up, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news video, rumor video, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be going over some of the top head coaching candidates the Bears could hire following Matt Nagy's firing, which is expected to come on Monday. If you guys missed it, I already did a video on Jim Harbaugh talking in depth about him potentially being interested in the Bears job, what it would mean for the Bears if we hired him. So if you want an in-depth look about Jim Harbaugh, I'll link that down below. I'm not going to cover Jim Harbaugh in this video because I already made a huge video about him. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys 8 other potential head coaching candidates the Bears could look at. Now, the Bears have not interviewed anybody yet because they haven't fired Matt Nagy at the time I'm recording this video. So they were not able to get the 2-week head start on interviewing any of these candidates. I think only the Jaguars took advantage of that 2-week period. So we haven't interviewed anybody yet. We have not really been connected to many people yet besides, potentially Jim Harbaugh. So this is pretty much all just my speculation through research, through reading on the internet, and basically me putting myself in the shoes of the Chicago Bears owner and kind of looking at what the Bears owners will be looking for. And, according to reports, we think that the Bears ownership is looking for a guy that's going to be a leader of men and also somebody that can mold Justin Fields into being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So I'm thinking they probably would like to hire an offensive-minded head coach, even though the last one didn't work out. You shouldn't scrap that idea entirely, right? Because if you have a young quarterback, usually what most franchises are doing is pairing that up with a top offensive mind. You see, Kyler Murray with Cliff Kingsbury, Aaron Rodgers with Matt LaFleur. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't young, but he has an offensive-minded head coach. There's a ton of other guys in the NFL right now that have offensive-minded head coaches, and it's working out really well for them. But I also think the Bears are not going to limit themselves to only offensive-minded coaches. Okay, that's why Jim Harbaugh is being considered. That's why maybe a guy like, Todd, spoiler alert, might be considered as well, because they want a true leader of men and a guy that can mold this Bears culture back into focus, because right now we have no culture whatsoever. With all that being said, let me just get into the video, guys. Okay, so the first potential head coach I feel like the Bears could hire is Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Now, I know that when people first look at Kellen Moore, they think that, oh, he's super young, and yes, he is really young. Okay, he's only 33 years old, so he would be one of the youngest head coaches in Bears history, and you would run a massive risk of hiring somebody that doesn't have much experience. But sometimes age and experience can be overrated in the NFL. You see Sean McVay get hired at a super young age, and he's blossomed. Okay, he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. There's a ton of other young coaches as well. Cliff Kingsbury is pretty young as well. So maybe in some ways, age and experience doesn't matter as much as it used to, okay? Because Kellen Moore as an offensive mind is one of the best, no doubt in my mind, in the NFL. The Cowboys offense has blossomed ever since he took over as play caller, okay? He took over as play caller in 2019, and during that year, the Cowboys offense finished number 1 in the NFL in total yards and number 6 in points scored. The following year, 2020, his starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, only played a couple games and was out for the rest of the season. But still, guys, the Cowboys offense finished top 15 in yards. Okay, they were number 14 in yards and 17 in points scored. So even without, Dak Prescott, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, he was able to have a capable offense for the most part, okay, with guys like Andy Dalton. Then if you go to 2021, the Cowboys offense is number 2 in yards per game and number 1 in points scored per game. One of the best offenses in the entire NFL. Now, I know people will say, oh, the Cowboys offense is stacked with playmakers. They have Amari Cooper. They had Michael Gallup until he got injured. They have Cedric Wilson. They have so many guys on that offense. Ezekiel Elliott, other guys as well. A good O-line. But, guys, the fact of the matter is that every top offense in the NFL has great playmakers. Okay, that's how the NFL works. You need great playmakers to have a good offense. And Kellen Moore definitely puts his playmakers in positions to make plays. There's a lot of pre-snap motion, a good mix of the run and the pass, and being a former quarterback, maybe he could help out Justin Fields in that regard as well. I know the last former quarterback we hired was Matt Nagy, but he was never a quarterback in the NFL, guys. Matt Nagy was a quarterback in arena football, which is way different than the NFL. So I think that Kellen Moore definitely is one of the options. Another option, guys, is going to be Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. Okay, Brian Daboll has been coaching for way longer than Kellen Moore. He's 46 years old. He's been coaching ever since 1997. He has a bunch of experience calling plays, being offensive coordinator, being quarterbacks coach with teams like the Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and most recently with the Bills, being offensive coordinator. He's had probably his most success with them because he's credited with, quote unquote fixing Josh Allen. If you guys remember, Josh Allen had one of the worst rookie seasons for any rookie that season. Okay, he had like a 50% completion percentage, only 10 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Like, he was looking very bad early, but Brian Daboll developed him into being an MVP level quarterback. You guys remember last year in 2020, he was an MVP candidate, okay? And the Bills finished number 2 in yards per game, number 2 in points per game. And then even this season, guys, even though it's been a little bit more disappointing, the Bills are still top 5 in yards per game and top 3 in points scored per game. So the Bills offense under Brian Daboll has been really damn good the last few years, and he's developed Josh Allen into being one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, which is why some teams are going to be interested in hiring him. Now, the problem with Brian Daboll is that he refuses to run the football, guys. Like, he's one of the most pass-only offensive coordinators that exists. He loves to pass over and over and over again, and sometimes it works to his benefit, but sometimes it also hurts him. Okay, against the BUCS this year in the first half, I believe they had 0 carries in that entire first half, right? So hopefully if he comes to Chicago, he would start to run the football a lot more because we have some great running backs here that he could take advantage of in his scheme. Going to the next candidate, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator BYRON. LEFTWICH. Okay, another former quarterback, another young guy. He's only 41 years old. He's only been a coach since 2017. He was a quarterbacks coach with the Cardinals in 2017 to 2018, and then he's been the offensive coordinator for the BUCS ever since 2019. So again, the worry here is that he doesn't have that much experience as a head coach, but his offense has succeeded massively during his time in Tampa Bay. Okay, even with Jameis Winston, guys. I know everyone says, though, Tom Brady is the main reason for the BUCS success, which to some degree, you might be right. Okay, he is the best quarterback of all time. He's been working very well with LEFTWICH, but Brady is one of the GOATs. Okay, so what did he do without the GOAT? Well, he had Jameis Winston for 1 year, and he still got a 5,000 yard, 30 touchdown season out of Jameis Winston. Now, granted, Jameis Winston also threw 30 picks, but that was before his eye surgery, right? Like, he had LASIK in like 2020 and got way better at seeing the field, right? So regardless, man, his work with Tom Brady, going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, he has experience now doing that. And Bruce Arians has admitted that BYRON LEFTWICH pretty much runs everything for them. Okay, BYRON LEFTWICH runs all the meetings. He runs the entire offense. Arians doesn't have as much control anymore over that offense. So strong leader, has experience working with big personalities, and has Super Bowl experience now as well. So I think BYRON LEFTWICH could be a strong candidate as well. Going to the next one, this is a bit of a stretch. It's going to require a lot of convincing to lure him out of Ohio State, but Ohio State head coach Ryan Day, okay, the coach of Justin Fields while he was at OSU, the guy that helped Justin Fields achieve all the success that he achieved in college football. He helped Justin Fields blossom into being one of the top star quarterbacks in college football, and he's had a lot of success, guys, at OSU. Now, granted, that is college football, right? So there's going to be a big risk in hiring a college football mind because that doesn't always go over smoothly. The NFL game is a lot different in many ways, but Ryan Day as a leader of men is fantastic. Okay, you guys see the speeches he gives his team before the game. They are incredible. Okay, they give you chills. He's that good of a leader. He's a great quarterback developer as well. He developed Justin Fields. He's developing CJ Stroud as well. CJ Stroud started the season really poorly. He got better practically every single week and put together one of the best performances ever in the Rose Bowl against Utah. But obviously his familiarity with Justin Fields is just massive, guys, because we're looking for a head coach that can get the best out of Justin Fields, and what better guy than the guy that got the best out of Justin Fields in college football. He knows who Justin Fields is as a person. He's worked with him so much in the past, and this could be the perfect reunion waiting to happen. It would be really exciting to see Ryan Day be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. Next on the list, Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator Greg Roman. Now, if you're looking for a guy with experience, a guy that's worked with so many different quarterbacks, that's been in coaching the NFL for a long time, Greg Roman is your guy. Roman is 49 years old. He's been coaching in the NFL ever since 1995. He's been with teams like the Panthers, the Texans, the 49ers, obviously. He worked with Jim Harbaugh back in the day, turned Colin Kaepernick into one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. He's been with the Bills as well, and obviously most recently with the Baltimore Ravens, turning Lamar Jackson into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, the big appeal with Greg Roman is that he has a lot of experience designing plays for mobile quarterbacks, guys like Lamar Jackson. Okay, his entire playbook is focused on Lamar Jackson in the run game. Guys like Colin Kaepernick, okay, that entire playbook was focused on Colin Kaepernick, the run game, and taking advantage of his abilities to throw on the run as well. So if we get Greg Roman, guys, you can guarantee that his entire playbook will be focused on the skill set of Justin Fields, who is a mobile quarterback, but also a guy that can pass from the pocket. And guys, he's also gotten great performances out of Tyler Huntley, okay, the backup quarterback on the Ravens. This guy had never started a game before in the NFL. He's been really close to winning multiple games against teams like the Packers. He won against the Bears. So even with lesser talented quarterbacks, he's been able to do so much. Imagine what he could do with Justin Fields. Next option is pretty controversial. He's not my favorite guy, but I think the Bears will look at him, and that is New England Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels has a lot of baggage in this league, guys. So if you guys want to look up all the controversies he's been involved in, I would encourage you to do so. You know, spying on teams and doing other stuff and trade, stuff going on with trades. So there's a lot of baggage from his past, but as a pure offensive mind, he is one of the better ones in the NFL. The question is, can he finally become the leader that a head coach actually is? He's already been hired to be a head coach in the past, and he wasn't a great leader at all, guys. Okay, he was hired to be the head coach of the Broncos in 2009, and that didn't go that well, guys. Okay, he was 8-8 his first year, then finished 3-9, had that videotaping scandal, whatever, and just was not a great leader whatsoever. So leadership issues are definitely a concern, but again, guys, he's gotten the most out of his offensive, playmakers while he's been offensive coordinator with the Patriots. All the success he had with Tom Brady, obviously, but even with Mac Jones, guys, a rookie quarterback, Mac Jones has been having the best season out of any rookie quarterback. So McDaniels definitely could be a candidate for this job. I've given you guys a lot of offensive-minded guys. Let me go to a couple defensive-minded guys now. And the first one is going to be Buccaneers defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. Okay, Todd Bowles has been a head coach before in the past, and he was the last head coach to have any semblance of success with the New York Jets. So that's definitely something to take into account. The Jets almost made the playoffs in his first year as a coach, and he also helped the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl with a stellar defense in 2021. Okay, the Buccaneers had the #1 defense in the league according to yards and points allowed, and that was the big reason why they won the Super Bowl. So if you guys want a defensive mastermind, I mean, Todd Bowles definitely is one of the top ones that exists. He's been a secondary coach before. He's been coaching all over the defense, been defensive coordinator with the Cardinals as well, now with the BUCS. So as a pure defensive mind, man, he could really whip our defense up into shape into being probably a top 10 defense. The question will be, can he get a solid offensive coordinator to build around Justin Fields? And the final candidate I have for you guys in this video is Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Okay, the Colts defense used to be one of the worst defenses in all of football in the years prior to Eberflus taking over. But ever since Eberflus has taken over, the Colts have had a very respectable defense. Okay, they were top 10 in 2019, his first year. They were top 10 in 2020 as well. And even though the Colts have had, injuries on the defense, even though they've had, lack of talent some years, he's still been able to put together some really respectable performances. So if you want a guy that can get the most out of your defense, Eberflus could be another one of those guys. Colts players have also talked about the strong leadership he has and how much they love him in the locker room. So as a leader of men, as a good defensive mastermind, he would be pretty nice. But again, the question will be, can he put together a good offensive staff to build around Justin Fields? So there you have it, guys. Those are 8 candidates that could potentially be the next Bears head coach. There's obviously many other ones I didn't cover in this video. Guys like Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator of the Packers, maybe Mike McDaniel from the 49ers, from the Shanahan tree. So there could be a bunch of guys on the Bears radar that I haven't covered. But I guess we'll find out in the coming days and weeks, because I'm assuming the Bears are probably going to make their head coaching hire within the next month. Okay, while the playoffs are, finally coming to a close, while teams get eliminated, they're probably going to have interviews going on, and they'll probably select their next head coach pretty soon. And I pray that it is finally the right hire. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys, but as always, bear down.